Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we will be discussing about the FSSAI CBT 2 test and the topic which comes under the food safety ecosystem in India, and the topic is food safety and standards licensing, which is one of the very important topic if we consider overall the food processing or food technological related aspects in India. And this is the second lecture for the main topic, that is food safety ecosystem in India. The previous one has been already uploaded, and this will be very helpful for those who all the aspirants who are who will be appearing for CFSO and technical officer exam, which is scheduled ahead. So let us start. So first slide, which tells about the licensing and registration of food business regulations 2011. So this is according to the section 31 of Food Safety and Standards Act, that any person engaged in procurement, production, storage, distribution, and sale, including import of the food, is required to obtain a license from the concerned authority. That is, anything related to the food processing, or anything which is related to the which deals with the procedure of the food, like procurement. Procurement is like we can take the food, we can the taking the food from the farmers, and then production is processing it with the like if we take any fruit or any vegetable from the farmer, that is called procurement, and afterwards then processing it or making anything else out of it is production. Same if we prepare any jam or any jelly, then storing it for a long period or storing it for a short period, then it comes to distribution. It comes with, like the industrial outlet sells it to the wholesaler, wholesaler gives to the retailer, and retailer sells it. So this, all these operations, any person, it doesn't mean that only one person who procures the fruits and vegetables has to do all these operations. Any person who deals with any of the operations included in this slide or included in this sentence needs to have the license from the FSSAI. So a person carrying business without license, one of the important things I am going to tell you is that the person who doesn't have license shall be liable to punishment, and the punishment is imprisonment for up to 6 months, and the fine of up to 4 rupees 5 lakhs. Here one thing is that the petty food business operators, petty food business, I will tell you of what petty food business operators are in the coming slides. But the petty food business operators are exempted, that they don't require license. Instead, they should register. They should have a registration certificate from a local designated authority. So to discussing apart from the slides, the things which are included in this slide, some of the salient features we can say of the licensing and the registration of the Food Business Regulation 2011 Act, that any person who, as I earlier told you, comes under any person who deals with any of the food related processing techniques or storage techniques, we should have this license. And the registration authority can also issue registration certificate. And the next is that it is categorized into three parts, like central license, state license, and registration. But also, unified licensing procedure for both center and state is done with the help of this single window, which we can call the licensing and registration of food business regulations 2011. Like we can through center we can also go for state, and from for state also we can apply we can have a central license, that is unified licensing procedures for both center and state and through the country, that is a single window. And this this system of licensing is less which is related to inspections. Rather, it is more an audit of a system, like what is going on and what can be done to improve it, and what are the drawbacks, and how can we can approach that drawbacks and clear the drawbacks and make a good system which will be related to the food processing system. And also it enhances the self compliance. It enhances the self dependence of the any food business operator who can easily do all the things in a framed manner and in a disciplined manner, so that everyone, the food business operator, the consumer, and the government also will be benefited from all these things. So another thing is that there are three authorities, as I mentioned earlier, who are responsible for food licensing and registration of food business, and these three authorities are registrations, uh, registration authority, state licensing authority, and central licensing authority. These are the three registration authorities which are related, who are responsible for licensing and registration of food business. So some of the another salient features of licensing and registration regulations, like it is a time bound issue. It has a registration within 30 days and license within 60 days of applying. Like we should register within 30 days after, and the license we will get is within 60 days of span. And if in case the license is not given in the stipulated time, or if the time frame which is mentioned above, a food business operator may or can carry his or her business until he has registered for that. And yeah, this is what about the salient features of the system. And next is that the existing registration license holders of erstwhile PFA, that is Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, and Control Orders under Essential Commodities Act to apply for FSSAI. That the previous things which the license which under the PFA and the Essential Commodities Act were given, these FBOs should also register for the FSSAI license, and they should go according to the norms given by this licensing procedure. And the renewal of license will the time period is for 1 to 5 years. And once the renewal is once the FBO, that the food business operator, has applied for the renewal, then it should he one has to apply it before 30 days of expiry. Like in case if one that is 1 month earlier before the license expires. And suspension cancellation of the license followed by improvement notice. Like further the warning is given, and afterwards the license or registration is either suspended and cancelled, or cancelled depending upon the faults or the drawbacks which are there in the food processing system. So as I earlier told you, that what is petty food manufacturer? The petty food manufacturer is the manufacturer who either manufactures or sells any article of food himself. Like we can have example of hawkers mainly, and vendors, stall holders. Like we have in Maharashtra we have vada pav stalls, and various places we have various food stalls. We can call them as gadas, and also tea stall. So this comes under the petty food manufacturers. Technically speaking, petty food business of manufacturers turnover must not exceed 12 lakhs, and the production capacity, if it deals with uh, other than milk and milk products, should be 100 kg per day. And if it is related to milk, the collection and the handling of milk should be up to 500 liters per day. Talking about the meat processing, or related applications, like slaughtering capacity, up to 2 large animals and 10 small animals, or 50 poultry birds per day. This should include in the petty food business manufacturer. And the next is that a registered member of a registered cooperative society sells entire milk to the society is exempted from the registration. So the various food establishments which come under the central licensing are: the first is the dairy units. Dairy units, like handling capacity. Talking about the handling capacity of the dairy units coming under the FSSAI license, that is more than 50,000 liters of liquid milk per day, or 2,500 metric tons of milk sold per annum. This can be the conditions for the holding capacity. And installed capacity should be more than 2 metric tons per day. Talking about the slaughtering houses, as I mentioned earlier also, 50 large animals for the central license and 150 or more, like 150 plus, 150 plus for the small animals. Here, talking about the sizes, it depends upon the uh, sizes of the animals, like small and big. So this is one of the factors which are considered for the licensing. Uh, Next is 1,000 or more poultry birds like chicken, like hen, cock, and other birds which are related to poultry. Here the small animals may include sheep, goats, etc., etc. Like so, the next is the meat processing capacity, which is anything related to the meat processing. It should be more than 500 kg per day and 150 metric tons per annum. Next is which is related to all other food processing industry, which I mentioned earlier, except those. The processing capacity must be 2 metric ton per day, except for grain cereals and pulses milling units. And 100% export oriented units, all importers importing food items, FB operating in 2 or more states, any food which does not fall under the categories which are mentioned below from the prescribed specification of additives. And so this is the licensing authorities I earlier mentioned: registering authority, state licensing authority, and central licensing authority. So designated officers are for state are appointed by the Food Safety Commissioner of state or the Union Territory, and for the central it is appointed by the CEO FSSAI under in his capacity of Food Safety Commissioner. And for registering authority, it is a food safety officer, any official of in panchayat or municipal corporation or any other local body notified by the state food safety commission. So this is a procedure. You have to file an application, then the application is processed, and either the registration certificate is granted and or it is rejected. And if after inspection it is issued. So this is the crux of the registration procedure for registration. And application form we have to fill, for which cost rupees for 100 rupees, and receipt of application we will get in 7 days. Then and within a month of within a period of 30 days, that is 1 month, we can get the procedure or the registration certificate. In case if there is no response, the food business operator may start continuing with his business. And this is the procedure of license. We have to file an application, we get an application number there, and then in case there is some lack of information, we should give that information, and then inspection is done, and then the license is either granted or rejected within a span of 60 days. So if no response, it should continue after 60 days, and in no inspection it should continue. If inspection report not processed, everything it is related, he or she, the FBO, must continue the business after the expiring of 60 days. And fresh application, if it is cancelled, it should be filed after 90 days. That is not detailed like on the 61st day or 62nd day. It should be filed after 90 days completion of the previous application. And then if it is cancelled, you should, like as I earlier told you, the procedure should be refollowed, and from the first step, that is filling an application. And these are the list of documents: the application in form B, which we get online, the layout of your processing plant, the machineries and equipments which you will be using, the water analysis report there, and other documents, and the food which you are going to process. And next is some of these are the nomination form, certificate of SFMS or undertaking. You can read this. And licensing conditions, like which conditions should be followed. And the first and foremost, be it anything, sanitation and hygiene is one of the best and one of the necessary things we all should follow everywhere we go, which is not only related to food, but everything which we do, we should do it in a sanitary condition and hygienic conditions. Talking about food particularly, The sanitary and hygienic conditions we are laid down under Schedule 4 of the regulations of the FSSAI, and that should be maintained. Next is we should the FBO should at least should employ at least one technical person to supervise the production which is going on, like technical person in the sense the person who has got good knowledge of, of or has done any of the courses like diploma, graduation course, that is BTech or BSc in food technology or food science. He has done masters in he or she has done masters or MSc in food technology or food science, or allied fields. So that one technical person should be employed, and they furnish annual and half yearly. And next is the record should be kept, like what type of, what quantity of, what nature of production is done, which raw where from where the raw materials is inducted, what type of raw material is inducted, and afterwards the after the production, after the packaging, the sale of the product, that record should also be maintained, like where it is given, what amount is it is given, which is the batch, which is the what is its expiry date and all, which is mentioned on the packaging. We should all have the information maintained in the daily record, so that it will be the things will go smoothly, and if in any case some mishap goes, we can or any drawback occurs, we can counter it very easily. And there is we should also ensure that there is chemical and microbiological testing for the contaminants half yearly basis. Should check all the premises, the equipments, the handling materials, the also the force or labor required which is present there, and also ensure the the source and standards of the raw material is good, optimum or of the best quality we can say. And also the true copy of license should be attached or should be placed or displayed in the required places in the establishment, and and also give access to the licensing authority to any of the premises of which is related to the food operations. Next is to inform the authorities about any changes like which are done in related, which are not mentioned in the licenses. He or she, the food business operator, should inform about this to the authorities. Next is that the food business operator, which is one of the first and foremost thing, that the food business operator should ensure that no other product other than mentioned in the license is manufactured in his or her food processing unit or anything else. And the manufacturer, importer, distributor, anything, any of the three, shall buy and sell, like uh, he or she, if she is a manufacturer, then he or she should sell the her goods which are manufactured in the food processing unit to the importer or to the distributor who has got the license or the registration from the FSSAI itself, not to the another person. And ensure that the required temperature, all these are the physical chemical factors which are related to food, and we all know about that. All the physical chemical factors should be maintained throughout the food supply chain. And these are the some other conditions talking about the hotels and restaurants and other stalls. No, they should they should put a notice about containing separate list of articles which have been cooked in ghee, edible oil, vanaspati. They should mention that this, for example, there is a, we can take example of jalebi. Then they should tell this that this is fried in whatever they have used, like ghee, edible oil, vanaspati, anything else. He or she should mention that this is fried in this. The next is that the FBO, that is food business operator selling cooked food, shall display a notice board containing nature of articles being sold, that what type of an article, if it is cooked, and what type of article it is. Next is that the one of the producers or manufacturers who deals with the manufacturing of vegetable oils, edible oils, or related products should have his or own analytical lab, which is which should include any of the analytical methods which are required for the oil related analytical methods. And the edible oil should not be sold or distributed unless it is packed, it is marked and labeled according to the regulations which are set up for the FSSI. You can see this labeling regulations in the FSSAI website. You can get an entire compendium regarding the labeling norms. Next is the status of licensing and registration of food business. So the online licensing is in place for central license and also by state, as I earlier told you. And the PFA and control under the Essential Commodities Act is now converted to the FSSAI licensing or registration. So this was all about the licensing and registration system, which is according to FSSAI, and who all needs to follow it. Thank you. If you have got any of the information from this video, if you have liked the video, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day and all the best for your exam.